What's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. Today we are going to be fixing an issue on the Integra back here. This issue is where the car will not shift out of park. This is kind of a common thing on Integras. So the floor shifter on the automatic Integras will sometimes just get stuck in park. You can't shift it into any gear whatsoever unless you take the key out of the ignition, put it in the shift lock release, and then it will release and you can shift into whatever gear. So if your Integra will not shift out of park and you don't know what to do, put the key in the shift lock release, shift it down into neutral, start the car, then put it into drive, and then you can drive just like normal until you put it back into park again, and then it's stuck again. You got to do that again. So this problem will not strand you, but it is a problem that you don't want to have to deal with every day, of course. So it needs to be fixed, and we're going to do that today. I think I know what the problem is on the car. I think the brake switch that is activated when you push the brake pedal, I think that has just gone bad on this car. It is kind of a thing that happens on these cars sometimes, and when that brake switch goes bad, the brake lights will stop working also, which is super dangerous, so you don't want to drive like that. And it'll keep the shift lock release from automatically unlocking whenever you hit the brake pedal, which causes the shifter to never come out of park. So I've got a new switch, ordered it from Amazon. Maybe I'll put a link down in the description below. It was $27 as of the time when I ordered it 3 days ago. So anyway, pretty cheap part. You can get them locally too. AutoZone had it, but it was double the price. It was about $48 or $54 or something. So I just ordered it off Amazon, waited a couple days, and here it is. So let's see if we can get that in. It's kind of jammed up under the dash, a little bit hard to get to, so we'll see what we get into. Let's get it done. Okay, so the switch that we're going to be replacing is activated by the brake pedal. So you push the brake pedal and it opens the switch. And so I'll see if I can get down here and film and show you what we're looking at. It's real tight down here for a guy my size, probably any guy of any size. So to get down here and film and work is going to be quite a challenge. Right there is the brake switch. That silver part, kind of the white top on it up there. Up above it is an electrical connector. You can barely even see it, it's blue. That has to be disconnected, and then there is a jam nut on here. Right there, that gold thing is a jam nut, and if I'm looking at it right, that should have to come out or be loosened first, although it looks like you can almost take it out without loosening that. So we'll see on that, but then that entire sensor will unscrew from the bracket that it's screwed into. So that whole sensor right there has got to be replaced, and whenever you push the brake pedal, you can see that it opens that switch, and that black part of the switch extends out, and that's how your car knows to turn the brake lights on, and it's how it knows to unlock the the shift lock release mechanism. So I think this switch has just gone bad, so I could be wrong. I don't really know until I change it, but it was cheap enough just to buy it and change it, I thought, without doing a lot of more diagnostics and trying to test a bunch of things. So let's see if we can get that dude out of there. Okay, so here's a look at the plug. The electrical connector is that blue piece right there, and I was able to get it out using a pick. I just reached up there and pressed the pick onto the little lock release and pried outwards, and that thing just slid right out. So that was actually really easy, although it's really tight to get in here. Getting it out was really easy. Now I got to figure out how to turn this thing and thread it out of the bracket. Okay, so I did decide to go ahead and take off this trim panel here that fits up right on the bottom of the dash there. That just, I think that gave me some more room to work. Just kind of basically gave me more room for my face to be without feeling so claustrophobic. And then I took two 10mm nuts off of the fuse box here so that the fuse box can now wiggle around a little bit. Didn't exactly get out of my way, but it did give a little wiggle room, which is going to allow me to kind of, I think, get my hands in there a little bit better. And then I took a 14mm, which is this guy right here, and with a 14mm wrench, I stuck it up in there, and I loosened that jam nut that was on the sensor itself. So let's see if I can show you that. This is hard to get under here, of course. So that gold jam nut right there, I loosened it with the 14mm and backed it off just a little bit. Man, this is hard to film. Sorry guys. Okay, loosened up that jam nut just about 2 turns, and then that loosened the whole the tightness of everything. Wasn't such a problem. So now if I can get my hand up in there, I'll show you that you can get your fingers on it now, and and you can turn it by fingertips like this right here. So I'm just backing that guy out. We'll see if I can get it all the way before it runs into something. I think this should work. Getting the next one in is going to be fun. Okay, it's almost there. It's getting loose, I think. Come on, girl. You can do it. A few more turns. Should fall into my hand. There we go. Alright, there it is. Now it's just a matter of putting the new one in. Always got to have an injury, right? Kind of the way it goes when you work on cars. Okay, so here's the new one I got off Amazon. That's the part number for you. And let's get it out of here, make sure it looks just like the old one. So far so good, but let me grab the old one out of the car. We'll compare side by side. Okay, well, they are different. The new one is shorter by quite a bit, but I don't think that's going to matter at all. As long as there's enough thread there to do the job, then we should be fine. Let's make sure the plugs are the same. That's critical. How do they look? Yeah, I think they look the same. Yeah, so we should be good to go. There is another sensor floating around on Amazon, guys, that's cheaper than this one. I think it was 15 bucks, and I almost bought it, but thankfully I read through the reviews, and the reviews warned me that it does not fit the Integra. It fits a bunch of other Hondas, I guess, but it doesn't fit the Integra. And once you looked at it, if you had first looked at this one, you would agree that the plug is shaped completely different on that one. So don't just buy the cheapest one. Be sure and buy the right one. And I think this is the right one. I am kind of surprised at the difference in height, but since it's threaded, it isn't going to matter as long as there's enough length there to get the switch to actually activate before I run out of threads. It won't be a problem. So anyway, let's give it a shot, see how she goes. Also, before you install it, you want to run your jam nut all the way down so that it does not get in your way. You don't want it bottoming it out on anything. Man, my camera doesn't want to focus. There we go. So run your jam nut all the way down, then thread this thing into the bracket to the height you want, and then jam your jam nut up where it's supposed to be. But start with it all the way down, like so. Okay, it was a bit of a hassle to get the threads to line up, but I did in fact get them to line up after about 5 minutes of struggle. And then this sucker just threads right on in like so. And then you just tune it. You just set your depth so that whenever you press the brake pedal, the switch becomes completely open. You know, within maybe 1/8 of an inch of hitting your brake pedal, you want that white piece there to no longer be touching the pintle thing that slides in and out. So set your depth accordingly so that after you hit your brake just a little bit, that switch becomes completely disconnected. Then set your jam nut and lock it all the way against that bracket, plug it in, and you should be done. Alright guys, so that was quite a challenge to get that blue plug back up there connected. I just used my pick and tried to align it best as I could, and thankfully it slid right in with a little bit of force. Super tight to work up in there. My hand is literally all covered in blood now. I have not tightened up the jam nut yet because I want to test the switch and make sure it works before I go ahead and tighten that guy up. So let's do that right now. Let's slide out of here and test this situation. Make sure that we've done a good thing. There's my hand, by the way, so you know. I'm a little bloody, no big deal. Okay, so now if the switch worked, we should be able to just put the key in, turn it, hit the brake pedal, and shift out of park. Yes, yes, perfect. So that did in fact fix it, guys. Brake switch was in fact bad. Crazy. I mean, I figured it was, but still, I It always surprises me when a switch goes bad, because I'm just so used to working on these import cars that last so long, they go forever, and the switches are always so good. But everything does break eventually, and these cars are not young anymore. These cars are so old now. It's actually kind of sad if you think about it, how old these cars are. If you're in your 40s like me, you kind of grew up with these cars, and all of them. In fact, what we got, 300ZX, MR2, Integra, and 240SX, and they're all actually kind of antiques now. But anyway, if you're kind of like my age or whatever, you don't feel like these cars are that old. But they are. This car here gave me heck one day for several days because freaking relays were dying on it. I don't know how many actual relays have died on this car, but there's been more than one, like 2 or 3. I mean, who sees a relay go bad? Nobody. Like, relays don't go bad on Japanese cars. But anyway, they do when they're 30 plus years old, I guess. So same thing with switches. So replace the switch, and floor shifter is working. So that's pretty much it, guys. Let me flip the camera around here real quick. All right, guys, so that's going to be it for this little quick fix here on the 1999 Integra. This should be a good fix for the 94 to 94 through 2001, I think this Integra is, or probably just about any Honda made. If it won't shift out of park, check into your switch for your brake and replace that and see if that doesn't fix your problem. Anyway, guys, if you enjoyed this, give me a sub. If you have any questions, ask down below. I try to answer everybody's questions down there. Otherwise, guys, I will catch you on the next one.